Good morning, everyone. Good morning. How's everyone this morning? Glad to be well. Are we happy for the rain? Yes. Yes, but you don't miss the water till the well runs dry. Don't miss the water till the well runs dry. My garden is so okay. My name is Mary Johnson, and I will be facilitating this morning. And we always start with a prayer. Ken, I'm sorry. Ken. Don't get to close Deacon. Bishop, I'm sorry.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
As you can see, there has been a change, and I'm still working on it. And as soon as I complete the work, I'll start smiling a bit more. Those of you who know, you know what I'm talking about. But the greatest thing I want to talk about this morning is this is another day that God has made, and I hope you will join me and rejoice in it. There is nothing this day can throw at me that God and I, or really God, cannot handle. So I turn all of my life over to Him. Even those times when I may be in a disagreement with somebody over anything, I still turn it over to Him, and then my conscience gets on me and says, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. I said, well, I'll tell God that's what you said. But nonetheless, this morning it is such a great day. Even the wonderful rain that He's blessed us with because of you and me. So without any further ado, I'll just go to God in prayer on behalf of all of us and appeal to the God in each of us. Let's bow. Father, we are thankful for this new day that you have made. May we rejoice and be glad in it. And that may all we do rejoice so that others will see and know that you are with us. God, may the spirits that surround us, may the spirits within us, all reflect the you in us. Lord, thank you for each and everything, each and every blessing, and even for those trials, because without you, we know we can't survive. So for this, Lord, we say thank you. May the words of our mouths and the meditations of our hearts be acceptable in your sight. Amen.
Amen. I'm going to elevate you to hope. Okay, do we have any first timers here? Do we have anyone here for the first time?
If you don't raise your hand, I will come to you. All right, we found one.
Okay.
Good morning. My name is Beverly Hill, and I'm here with my aunt, who is Laura McClettie. And I just wanted to visit. I've been hearing a lot about you guys, and I just wanted to come out and see for myself.
Welcome, and come back next Tuesday.
Thank you.
I would be remiss if I didn't recognize Mr. Maurice McClettie. Okay, welcome. Okay, so we introduced him. Okay, I said I was Mary Johnson, and we also have Ms. Laura McClettie. These are facilitators for the Tuesday Forum. We have Laura McClettie, we have Robert Collins, Anthony Garrett, Mr. Thomas Moore, Shay Abdullah, we have Steve Johnston, we have Carlenia Canty, and she's not here today because today is her husband's birthday, so she's spending the day with him. We have Ms. Jackie Walton, we have Gary Young, we have Winston Robinson, who just came in. Thank you, Winston. Okay, I am very happy. Oh, let me just say this for our first time. We're going to hear from our speakers this morning, and then we're going to take questions from the audience. And you have 30 seconds to ask your question, and they will answer it in a timely way. Hey, how you doing? Okay, they're gonna answer your questions in a timely fashion, okay? Because we have to, stop at 9:45. 9:45, that's our last question, okay? So please don't raise your hand at 9:45, okay? And we'll take announcements because our live stream will end at 10 o'clock, okay? So you two can have a seat. I want to introduce the guests we have today. We have Mr. Lorenzo McNulty. He is a licensed agent with New York Life Insurance Company. And we have Mr. Daks McClettie, who I've known practically all of his, well, I knew him before he was born. Okay, and he's with State Farm, and he's also a licensed agent with State Farm. And they are here to talk about one of the most important things that you could do in your life, and that is to be insured. It's for you, it's for your family, it's for your generational wealth, it's for all of those, plus more. So I'm gonna let them introduce themselves, and then we're gonna let them speak, and we're gonna have questions. Also, we have a streaming audience, so we have lots of people watching us today.
All right. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Yes. Like you said, my name is Daks McClettie, and I am a agent for State Farm. So we are a full service agency. We are able to help people with car insurance, property insurance, whether that's home insurance, renter's insurance, rental properties, certainly life insurance, and we also help people with different health insurance products as well. I am a native of Charlotte, been here since the late 70s when I was born, and certainly it's always a pleasure. I watch this online on a regular basis, and I know my mom's been working with this group in this session for many, many years, so it's a pleasure to share this time with you guys, and I certainly appreciate you guys letting us come and let you guys know what we have going on today.
Absolutely. My name is Lorenzo McNulty. I am a financial professional with New York Life. New York Life, so you know how today many people are really concerned about their long-term financial futures. Okay.
Come on, y'all.
Come on, man. You know.
It's a good song.
I'm sorry. Two things I didn't say. One, please silence your phones. Because we want to hear what they say. We want to be respectful. Okay? Thank you.
So my role is, as a New York Life professional, is to help make sure you feel confident that you've got those unplanned things covered. We have done a lot here in Charlotte, not just as New York Life, but I'm the CEO of Legacy Housing Group as well. So my community service aspect is developing senior safe housing for veterans. I come out of the assisted living world, so I've got a different perspective on partnering with you throughout your life as life changes and you need to make adjustments to your financial plan. So we plan to be your partner. We've been around for about 180 years, and we plan to be your partners for life. Because I can keep going.
Okay, we need both of you to give us a little more meat.
Okay.
How did you get into this? You know, how did you get into this, both of you? Okay. What services are being offered? Yeah.
Okay. Well, the way that we work, we typically, how do we get here? So fun fact is June will be my 20th year anniversary here in Charlotte. My wife and I talk about this all the time. I actually moved here chasing a girl, and I married her, so I caught her. We've got a beautiful family here. My mom is from Mississippi. I hail from Mississippi, so I've got some really deep roots there. This journey has been, and thank you for asking that question. This journey has been a lot, and I'm hesitant to talk about myself because I think that the edification is in you, and it doesn't matter what I know, it matters what you know and what you believe that you can achieve. But I will though. I don't mind talking about myself for a second. So I grew up in Mississippi. My first plane ride was to a place called MCRD, which is the Marine Recruiting Depot, right? First flight changed my life. Important note on that flight is I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know where I was going, but I was confident that I could be whatever it was that I needed to be in order to make this thing successful. So I would do a tour, they would send you overseas, they let you go with the parting gift of PTSD, you learn about yourself, right? You learn about yourself. And as I was doing that, I was trying to figure out, Charlotte was it for me. Charlotte has given me a lot. You guys, my community, my neighbors, have given me a lot to stand on and help support. So my goal was to continue the service at the standard that the Marine Corps had given to me. I would then go back to what I knew, which was technology. So I managed a call center here through a transition, and only important because I was making 6 figures, but a guy came in 2 years and he walked away with $118 million. And it made me start to question my life, right? What am I doing here? What don't I know that he knows? And it was an inspiration. So I would go on, I would be a cultivator. So my first $1 million business was in industrial hemp. Industrial hemp, we use those products to, we did some good stuff. We shrank tumors. This is just me and my data. So I'm a scientist through UNCC. I'm an engineer through the Marine Corps. And so my mind solves problems. That's just what it does, in a reverse engineer kind of fashion. I say all of that to say that I realized that I was dealing with the same group of people. My people were 55 years or older. That was pain, inflammation, and anxiety that we were really digging into. That business led me into an intellectual delayed rental service. So we were providing housing for mental health. Again, I told you I came out, I went to therapy. Therapy gave me the tools to help my community frame some of the conversations that we're all having or we're suffering through in silence. That introduced me to assisted living. And I think that, again, my community, shout out to my mentor, but they gave me the knowledge to run basically a nursing home in a residence. So I would go on my first journey of developing senior safe housing for veterans through assisted living. As today shows, I think, when it rains, people start to have a different approach to the world, and things were crashing down in that business. I'll be honest, and me and God had to have some really intense fellowship about what he had called me to do. I'm standing here, you called me to do this, so make a way. And I remember Miss Debbie, I was running the assisted living, she came in, she was skipping, she handed me this $6,000 check. And the little kid in Mississippi in me said, where did you get this money, right? Where is this money? Now, my science mind is assessing the fact that none of the people who I am providing this assisted living care for look like me. It sends me back to when my grandmother passed. It sends me back to when my mom was sitting beside her husband's bed. It sent me back to my grandfather, my uncle, and all of these passings that had happened, and they needed this kind of care that I now got to reinstall in our community. My bad, Dad. Oh, no. But assisted living kind of introduced me to long-term care. It introduced me to future planning. It introduced me to the tools that the wealthy use that we've always been trying to get to in order to open up that door for our next generations to come in. So that's kind of how I got here. That's a pretty long story, but Daks.
Oh yeah, so like I mentioned before, I'm a Charlotte native, and my parents, Maurice and Laura McClettie, brought me up here in Charlotte. I grew up as a member of Friendship Missionary Baptist Church, so that was a community that helped me meet a lot of people, and graduated from West Charlotte in 1996, as my parents did, a generation before me. But in my time at Friendship, I got to know some people, and my parents ended up doing business with a gentleman named Bob White. And Bob White was the first man to allow me to come work in his office. He was an all-state agent. I think he opened up his agency sometime in the early 80s. But again, our community, being down with Friendship, helped connect me with my parents, with Bob. And I started when my wife and I, Angela, we got married in the year 2000. Our son was born that same year. And I was looking in the newspaper, in the want ads for a job, and Allstate was hiring at a call center back in the year 2000. This was 2001 at this point. And again, my parents were already doing their car insurance and their home insurance with Bob. And when Bob found out that I was working at the call center, and again, in being in community all those years at the church, he was familiar with me and my family. So evidently he felt, I might have been a good prospect to come in there and work for him. And he hired me after I was at the call center for about a year. And then that's when I really got to understand the importance of insurance as a whole, but also the importance of what an insurance agency and an agent meant to the community. I understood that you could not get a driver's license, you couldn't get a license plate for your car, you couldn't borrow money to buy a car, you couldn't borrow money to buy a house without hollering at somebody like Bob and myself at the time. And so when that dawned on me, I realized how serious and how deep the business of insurance was, mostly because by law, or whether it was the laws set by the municipality that you lived in, or the laws or the rules of the companies that you wanted to borrow money from, that you were going to have insurance. Our society was kind of built on a requirement of everybody having to have insurance one way or another. So I worked with Bob for about a decade, and after working for Bob for that long, I got connected through another person in between us with a man named Howard Johnson. And Howard Johnson was a State Farm agent. And Howard was actually the first African-American agent for State Farm in the city of Charlotte back in the 80s. So when I connected with him, understood his lineage and his history, that certainly got me connected with State Farm. But what Howard also did was make me understand the importance of life insurance. It wasn't until I got with Howard in 2012 that I started having more conversations with people in general, with our clients, and certainly with Howard about the importance of life insurance and how it works and the different types of life insurance. And Howard was very, very passionate about it. That was kind of his claim to fame in Charlotte and amongst the whole enterprise with State Farm. Most people knew of him for helping a lot of people with life insurance. So he kind of imparted that way of life and that way of thinking on me. And in 2021, at the end of 2021, Howard retired. And throughout those 10 years that I worked for him, he was always kind of grooming me and discussing with me the things that I needed to have in place so that when the powers that be at State Farm decided who was going to have an opportunity to take over an agency or his agency if he decided to retire. Now, he had already kind of let me know that he knew he was going to retire within a certain time frame, but we also knew that he didn't have the final say. But what he did do was just make sure that I had my ducks in a row, that I understood the business as well as I possibly could, and when it was time for them to choose who was going to take over his office that he had ran and grown for over 30 some odd years, they chose me. And again, I cannot stress enough how important it was that he was so adamant about just teaching me the step-by-step ways of not only running a business, but just understanding what our position is in the community with regard to helping as many people as we could in as many ways as we can. So January of 2022 is when we opened up our office. It's a family-run agency. I have my lovely mother working in there. She's always going hard on our behalf. I have my younger son working in there with me. I have my wife. She joined us in 2025 at the beginning of that year, last year. And then I have two other people on my team. We go by the Protection Posse. That's our nickname, because we're real serious about protecting people, and in many different ways. Like I mentioned earlier, y'all gotta have car insurance. Y'all gotta have home insurance. But today specifically, I wanted to harp on the importance of life insurance. And like I mentioned earlier, we offer many different products. We help people with health insurance type needs with regard to, like, if you get injured or sick and you can't go to work, we offer protections for that. We also offer protections where if people get injured and have to go to the hospital. And now all of these protections that I'm talking about, with most of the life protections and the health protections, there are qualifiers involved, meaning you can't just sign up for it and you automatically go get it. State Farm is not going to just automatically say, yes, you can have it just because you're willing to pay for it. Usually you have to qualify for these things, and the qualifications usually are tied to your health at the time that you're checking for this. It's going to be tied to your age and then your lifestyle. And with life insurance in particular, people, they understand the health part. Like, some companies are not going to rock with you if you are dealing with some serious ailments or health issues at the time that you're looking for it. Sometimes, if you can age out of a specific type of protection if you're not within a certain age group. But the lifestyle part of it, people don't think about. And when I talk about that, that's tied to things like, if you're a smoker, that's a risky lifestyle data point that a company is going to look at to say, either we're not even going to give you coverage because of your lifestyle, how you're living, or we're going to charge you an arm and a leg or more, arm and a leg and a foot or whatever, because of how your lifestyle is. But when we also talk about lifestyle, most of the carriers that I'm familiar with, and certainly the one that I represent, they're going to look at an individual's criminal history, okay? So one of the points that I want to make, and I want to talk about a specific opportunity that we have to offer through my agency, is, okay, when I first got into offering people life insurance, I have some really close friends of mine that I love dearly that have gotten caught up and gotten in some trouble, made some mistakes, made some bad choices, got in trouble, and they had criminal records, okay? So what I had to find out was, when they came to me and said, look, Daks, I want to get some life insurance through y'all. I have a child now. I want to take care of my family. I tried to set them up with a policy. This was before I didn't do as much due diligence as I should have, and I didn't realize that because they had these specific instances or infractions on their criminal history, I could not offer them life insurance. And when I called our underwriters and asked them about, what the issue was, well, how could this be something to block someone from getting life insurance? What they explained was that if an individual, let's say, is on probation and they make a small infraction, you can get stopped by the police and, make a left turn when you weren't supposed to. If you're on probation, they can really put you in jail for that, right? So the underwriter that explained this to me was explaining that if this individual goes to jail, they're going to be in a very risky environment, which heightens the risk of them dying earlier than what the actuaries and what the people, the prognosticators are setting up these policies to cover them for. So therefore, again, them having a criminal past could increase the risk of them being in a risky situation. So that's why I couldn't offer some of my closest friends insurance, life insurance. And again, they came at me, they wanted it. And it's rare that people just put their hand up and say, I want life insurance. Like I said, a lot of these things you gotta have by law. But for life insurance, you gotta, either I gotta make it plain for people to see why it's important, or they gotta have a come to Jesus moment where they're like, I need this in my life, right? So they were having their come to Jesus moment, and I couldn't do nothing for them. So fast forward to 2 years ago, State Farm came out with this particular opportunity for life insurance called a guaranteed issue final expense policy. And what this particular product is it's a policy for people between the ages of 45 and 80 years old. So I know everybody in here, everybody listening and watching, knows somebody between the ages of 45 and 80 years old. That's a whole generation and a half, pretty much, that we can help people, right? That's what I'm saying. So if you know anybody between 45 and 80 years old, I can guarantee that there is no telling them no if they want some life insurance, okay? I can also guarantee that they can get a coverage amount between amounts of $10,000 and $15,000 worth of coverage. So those are two guarantees, and we know there ain't a lot of guarantees in life, right? But those are two things that I can guarantee you guys today. We can also guarantee that the type of policy that I'm talking about, it's called a whole life policy or permanent policy. So when somebody's talking like that, that usually means that that coverage is set to be there until an individual is 121 years old. So I can pretty much guarantee that they're gonna have this coverage for the rest of their lives. Because I ain't seen the science on it, but I don't know too many people that live to age 121. But if you do make it to 121, you get your money back, the way this thing works, all right? But most of us will not, right? So I can guarantee that you're gonna have life insurance for people between the ages of 45 and 80 years old until they're 121 years old, and I can guarantee you can get that coverage with amounts between $10,000 and $15,000 worth of coverage. Now, I like guarantees personally. And also, speaking of what Lorenzo was speaking about, State Farm, we've been around now for about 105 years. So I can pretty much guarantee that if that person lives through that 121 years, that money is going to be there for them. This is the company that I'm representing. They got their money right. So it's not going to be an issue where they don't have enough money in the coffers to pay out, right? If thousands of people decide to get this coverage. So going to your question about, specific products and what we offer, I got them guarantees. You hear me? All right?
That's really good.
Go ahead.
That's really good. And what he's saying is important. There's a lot of qualifications that are based on your age and your health, right? I know that, so we tend to come after this component. So we're the, you need to control your money people. I'm gonna give you an exercise. Everybody's got a piece of paper. We're gonna give you an exercise because, believe it or not, Black people are funded through insurance, about 52% of us, right? So I'm gonna give you some numbers. 52% of us are insured. We have approaching $1.9 trillion in spending power, yet the net worth of our homes are going to zero, trending by 2052. So what that is saying is that it's not the problem that we have been pointed towards to say that it's the problem. And I'm gonna give you this small exercise. This is what I do. If what I could do could be explained to you in one meeting in 1 hour, I don't think that it would be worth very much. I wanna tell you we're the #2 financially rated organization, right? And only #2 because there's a federal law that says you can't have a higher financial rating than the United States government, right? So on your piece of paper, I want you to write cash, C-A-S-H, right? I don't see a lot of pens, note takers or history makers. This is a participation event. So The average funeral right now is between funeralization. The average funeral is $15,000 to $25,000. So we'll average it out. We'll say about 20. Let's say we're on the high end. We'll go 25. Right now, beside cash, I want you to think about it for a second. Write out your current liabilities plus that $25,000 for your final expenses. Your current liabilities, your credit card, what you owe on your car, if you borrowed on that bag, right? Whatever that is, total that up. That's your C. Your A is your annual income, right? There's two things that make this math work. That's income and expenses, right? On my business owner, you're a business owner, you're shaking your head, I see it. So income and expenses. So that A is for annual income, right? That S is for those of us who have school or who are going back to school ourselves. We have small children, maybe we want them to go to a better school, right? I think college is averaging out at about $50,000, $60,000 a year, just depending on what type of education you want. But this is for your school. So the amount that you want to cover for your kids to go to school. The last one is your housing. We always talk about an affordable housing crisis here, but I want to give you some numbers that you're actually thinking about. How much do you owe on your house? Or if you're looking to buy a house, how much do you need to do that? And you don't have to tell me your number, but you take your cash, you take the C plus the S plus the H, and you subtract the A. And that's going to give you the amount of money that you need to be covered in insurance-wise. And I'm going to take it a step further for those of us who are married, who have got young children, who need to get to adult age, right? So insuring yourself is one thing, but protecting your income is a whole other thing. It's a whole other thing. So if you've got a 3-year-old at your house, that 3-year-old has 15 years before they can graduate. 15 years before they're essentially independent. That means that that income that you're bringing into your house needs to last 15 years, minimally. How much money are we talking now? Because now we have to multiply that income times 15. Or if you got a 10-year-old, that's 8, right? We're doing the 18-year-old age. And so when we get you into our ecosystem, you need to be aware of that. Your money is how you vote. If you want change, you vote with your wallet. New York Life has been doing this forever, it feels, but 180 years. And what we do is we don't sell you a product. I'm financially regulated, so we're studying securities, how to get your trades, how you to make money out of the market, how you to use that little amount of money to grow something great. We specialize in that. You don't have to make $1 billion because we know the path. I'm going to walk you through the steps. And if I don't, I've got a collection of partners down in Valentine that are the financial charters of this state. Their whole job is to tell you the truth about your finances. My whole role here is to tell you the truth about your finances. We get to romanticize a lot of things, but we never put numbers to them. That's what I'm here to help you do. That's what I'm here to partner with you to do. Who do your beneficiaries call when it's you last week that went, right? What would life look like today if you retire thinking that you're going to use the 401k that was invented in 1970 when the highest tax bracket was 70%. I'm sorry if these numbers are shaking you too much, slow down, we'll have a follow-up conversation. Matter of fact, 980-369-2997. Call that number, text that number to make sure that we have you and we understand what direction is a priority for you. So to your question about products, I have to understand a whole lot more about you. I have to understand more about your income, your spending habits, the things and the people who are dependent on that income that you're bringing. And then we can have a conversation. That's
Okay, well, you know what? I love both of y'all. You're wonderful. We do have questions. I'm going to ask you to limit your question to 30 seconds. And if we can give them, I know that you're right. You don't really have the time to answer these questions fully. You know, you can give them a whole hour on each one. but do the best you can in a short amount of time. But we want to start with, Ken has the first question.
Well, I'm 121 and I want my money back. I have no interest to it. Redlining has found new ways to discriminate. Why do rates vary based on zip codes?
Yeah, so that is a thing. Now let the people who set these rates tell it. It's based on data. That's what they tell us. That's what they tell us to say. But really, a lot of it is based on information that insurance carriers gather about what has happened in the past, right? So they'll look at a set of a specific area code where if there have been some accidents or a large amount of accidents in that particular area code, they're going to take it into consideration. They're also going to take into consideration the amount of people that live in a specific area code. Because the idea is the more people in a certain area, the higher the probability is that there's going to be accidents. So specifically when it comes to car insurance, that's one of the things that they say that they're looking at when it comes to how they're going to match a price with the risk. That's how they talk about it. But yeah, it is going to be determined by zip codes, because there are zip codes that are less populated. Like I see all the time where if someone moves to, let's say, Gastonia or even Concord, their car insurance prices are automatically going to be less than somebody that lives in any of these zip codes within Charlotte metro area. So those are usually some of the reasons why it's explained that the prices are higher depending on the zip code that you live in.
Yeah, and we explain that in mortality and morbidity rate. Same, exactly what he's saying. The more dense the area of population, or the more gun violence we have in that area, and you are in that area, the more likely you'll be exposed to something like gun violence, and the risk goes up. Good question.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning, sir.
So my first question is for a 25-year-old me who tried his hardest to pretend that he was an adult, listening to people who try to convince him to get an investment account or to buy insurance. And all I hear, whole term, life, $25 million. Oh, the ship shams, the blue blahs. I had no idea what was going on, but I'm trying to raise one eyebrow. You just look like an adult. So can we break this down as much as we can to what we're actually talking about when it comes to purchasing insurance or an investment account? It seems like a lot of times we start conversation from the middle, as if people already have prior context. If you had to explain what you do and why a third grader would need this for his parents, how would you do so?
Explain it to a third grader?
That he would then say, hey, Dad, you need some of this insurance.
That's actually the challenge, right? You're highlighting the challenge is we're competing with where your attention is going, and right now social media has all your attention, right? Right, wrong, indifferent, they have your attention, and they make it look glamorous, right? Like, I'm gonna put $100 into this account and I'm gonna have $3 million by, the stock market by this certain time. And really it comes down to consistency, right? So consistency is what grows. But you mentioned whole life, term life, $25 million.
Just random terms I heard that I didn't know.
Right, anybody else heard those terms? Whole life, term life, right? And sometimes they just make us gloss over a little bit. So because I'm in real estate, the one thing that I compare it to is buying your home versus renting your home. Right? You're buying an asset versus renting an asset, just because it can be a variety of different things. So let's say we rent a house. Right now, I think the median, 80% of the AMI was $1,692, $1,692 for a one-bedroom, one-bathroom here in Charlotte today. We're renting that, $1,700 going out every single month. When your lease is up, what happens? How much of that money you got?
Zero.
How much of that money you got at the end of it? Zero, right? Now, let's take that same time frame and you're inside of an asset, your house, right? Same $1,700 a month. At the end of that, what do you have?
20,400.
It's called by a word, starts with an E. Equity. Equity, the difference in whole life and term life is one you're paying for and one you're contributing to. In term life, you're just renting that, right? That's why it pays out less than 1% of the time. Because you're not supposed to die during look, advancements in technology, advancements in healthcare, our livelihoods are getting longer. Our longevity is improving, right? So with that rental insurance, if you get hit by the bus and you die, sorry for being short, but if you hit by the bus and you die, that term will pay. If you get hit by that bus and you get sent to one of my assisted living facilities, you get no money. You get nothing. You paid that $1,700 every year for the last 20 years, and you get nothing. We want to give you control of your asset. That's what the whole life is. That's exactly what it is. And so we put that whole life to work for you, and it comes with 8 different benefits, but there's the guaranteed portions of that. You're not going to leave this earth without it, right? We've got $39 billion in reserves at New York Life. We can cash out and pay out every single policy we got right now, right? And when you have whole life, that comes into handy because most of us don't just get hit by the bus and die. We go to the hospital, there's medical costs. I think we were talking about long-term care here a few weeks ago. You're gonna have those expenses, and those expenses right now are above $4,800 a month. We're talking numbers, we're talking real math. And most people are like, well, buy term and invest the rest. Because it's cheaper to get term. It's cheaper to get term. But the human behavior has shown us over these 180 years that you're not going to invest that money. If that money is sitting in your bank account, you know right now what to do with that money. You probably wish you could have spent it then. You're just holding off. And really having a real conversation with yourself. So those are the biggest two differences. One's a rental insurance. The other one is an equitable, compounding, contributory insurance. And then you can take control of that cash value that grows at a guaranteed rate for you.
You want to add to that?
Yeah, I was going to definitely agree with that sentiment about how the two are different from one another. And I always give people the example of, the same example of renting versus buying, but also the idea that both of these coverages, when it comes to term coverage for life insurance versus permanent insurance, are both shelters, right? So when you're renting a spot like the place that we're in right now, we're probably renting this place today, but we're being sheltered from that rain that's coming down, right? Where when you get a term insurance policy, that's the same thing. You're gonna have some shelter for the time being, whether it's for this 2 hours today, or for the year, or for the 20 years or 10 years that you decide to take that term insurance policy out for. But if you get a permanent policy, then you know that house is something that it's like a home that you buy where you can pass that along. It's guaranteed to be there pretty much for the rest of your life unless you decide to sell it or cash out of it where you do get money back. Because again, with the term insurance, with term insurance, you're not getting any money back. Like you said, once you're done renting that space for that year, there's no kickback there. There's nothing that's building up, but you do have shelter. So we don't want to front on term insurance like it's not there for you. And then when we look at life in general, I'm sure we can all raise our hand. We know of somebody in the world, in our lives, that's recently passed away, right? So people pass away every day, right? So that's why having some type of insurance is important. And one of the things that I'm stressing, that we want to stress, is we don't want we understand that you lose somebody you love, there's going to be grieving, right? We don't want you to have to deal with be dealing with grief and scrambling at the same time to come up with money to help bury somebody you love. So that's where I know we can both help people to make sure that you're not coupling the grief with the scrambling and just the craziness of having to do GoFundMe's and do fish fries to come up with, you know, $10,000 to $15,000 to bury somebody that you love. Yeah, I mean, hey, you see, I need a couple of G's for that too. You know?
Okay. Shamia.
How y'all doing? I've been a business owner for like 14 years, and you know I use like Gusto for my payroll. My wife was working like a W-2 that she's not working anymore. That's where our life insurance was. Like Gusto says that they make it easy. I guess can you, in you know a short amount of time, kind of tell me my options for me, myself, and my kids through my business? Like I you know, after last tax year, I definitely understand the value of paying it through the business because then I don't have to get the income and then, you know, but I don't know how it works in self-employed and my wife who could come on as W-2 if it makes sense for the life insurance stuff, or like, does it matter? You know what I mean? And then with my kids.
Thank you for your question. Yes, it does matter. I'm gonna preface this with, I don't know your financial situation, so I'm gonna just do my best from the outside to kind of give you something. You're already doing the right thing by starting your own business, right? I think that many people overlook the benefits of an LLC. He was just saying shelter. LLC is giving you an opportunity to be sheltered from your biggest expense as you can increase your income, which is making money, right? What he was saying was about his taxable income. And I just kind of want to bring level set for the room so we're all in the conversation. When you're a business owner, the key difference between being a W-2 employee and a business owner is when you pay your taxes, right? So as a business owner, a person with an LLC, whatever style you have, your taxes are after, right? The IRS expects you to invest in your business to make more money, serve more people, right? And then they'll tax the rest. If you are bringing home a W-2, your taxes are here before you even get that money, right? So what you're saying, insurance, and we get this a lot of times because right now we've eclipsed the 1 millionth employee being laid off. We've eclipsed that number, right? And you're probably seeing AI and all of these things that are taking people's jobs. So what you're talking about is how to take that protection with you. There are options for that. We call it an indemnity. Indemnity just means that we're going to make you whole again, right? So she lost that income. Let's say it's $100,000. If she, and again, I don't know your financial situation, but if you wanted the entire $100,000 to be brought back to you, we have options to help you do that. The taxable portion of it, to bring her on as a partner or talk with your tax guy.
It's an S corp. It's an S corp. So like, I'm a W-2. She can be a W-2, but like I guess as the company and the person trying to be insured, I'm more so worried about like how the money works like that. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, absolutely. As the owner, your business. I don't know your situation, so please don't take this as direct financial advice and go do this without me actually seeing it. Yeah, your life is on. Please. Theoretically, in a perfect world, your business would hold insurance on you, right? So because you are the person that makes the business go. If you go, the business goes. Your wife has to become partners with some strange dude, and it's confusing, right? So you put the business insurance should be on you. Your business then would get the death benefit paid out, right? If your spouse becomes an employee, if your spouse is an employee, right, you get the tax benefit of paying out those wages anyway. As a business owner, if you, we have a solution called Employee Whole Life, and it's the benefit of the business because you get the tax break for giving employee life insurance to your employees. So that's another way to bring down that taxable income. Your spouse can fit into that category. Talk to your tax guy, ask them that question right there, and they'll be able to walk you through those. We work with them, but they lead the way in that.
Okay, wait a minute. Let's just stop for a minute. That's a very deep question. You really can't answer that in just a minute, you know what I mean? So, both of these guys, you can talk to either one of them if you have like personal, in-depth questions, because it's not doing you any good to just hear a blurt, you know? So, let's try to keep it short, okay? The questions are great, but let's just try to ask something that they can answer. Would you like to respond to that, Dave?
Oh, no, that was good.
That was good, okay. Okay, so
Sorry.
let's, from here on out, because we only have about 15 more minutes, and we really want to give as many people as possible a chance to speak, okay? So who's next?
That'd be me.
Okay, go
Good
ahead.
morning, gentlemen.
Good morning, sir.
My man. See you all the time. Real quick, two things. How are you both using content creators like myself or videographers and or AI to increase your customer business base? That's one. And then the second one, most important for me, is the mentees I deal with. I tell them about whole life insurance. How much, how least, how little would an 18-year-old have to pay per month? Great health, no drugs, no alcohol, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, for a whole life policy at 18 years old to get 500,000 or $1 million of coverage. Got it?
Yeah, so with regard to the first part of your question, our office is partnered with a couple of different entities. One that's connected through State Farm, because a lot of times they have to vet a lot of stuff that we put out there to make sure that we're not too particular or too specific when we're putting numbers. Like that second question, like I could never put out a story or a reel or anything saying that it's going to cost X amount of dollars. Like State Farm won't even go for that, right? So that's why we have to run a lot of our stuff through them first, and then they'll say yay or nay. You can go ahead and drop this on any of your platforms and spread the word in that way. But yeah, those, like I said, it's an entity that State Farm monitors closely that I go through, and then I have another entity that I connected with a few years ago that had worked with many State Farm agents over the years. So these people kind of have a feel for the yeses and the nos as far as the type of stuff that we can put out there to promote our agencies. And so that's how we're doing it right now. Now, like I was telling you before, I'm 4 years in, right, as far as being an agency owner. The gentleman that I took over for, Howard, he did none of that. So that was one of the things that he didn't, we didn't get into. I didn't get into the tutelage as far as, being able to promote the business through online platforms in that way. So I'm still learning as I go right now. With regard to what you were asking about a specific 18-year-old, that is real specific. We would have to get with them. We would have to, in our case, he can call us. We can do it virtually. Better off coming in the office, sitting across from us, or if you're the parent that's asking about that, you all can get with us. But it definitely takes us plugging in specific information and then getting out a number. But I can assure you this: if that 18-year-old is, like you said, good health, living pretty clean, it's going to be way less expensive than it would be for a 48-year-old like myself.
What's the number?
I don't know. I mean, I can't even do that. It's too tough. I got numbers for that the guaranteed issue final expense policy I was telling you about, but that is too specific. I got to get more info.
It's a compliance issue. Yeah, it's a compliance issue to give a quote because we have to honor whatever we say. We're regulated by the Financial Regulatory Authority as well as the SEC, and we have to honor what we do as our fiduciary duty.
Okay. I'm sorry. Okay, Robert.
So, Daks, on the new whole life policy you were talking about, 45 and older, is that coming with all of the same benefits as a regular whole life? So,
Hold it up.
okay, so can you borrow against it and everything like a regular whole life, or there's some different deal since you're so old and it doesn't accumulate for the insurance company the same way you would if you were young?
Great question. It does do the same thing where it builds cash value that people can borrow against. Now, the prices usually are lower, so it's gonna take longer for that cash to grow, for you to borrow against. The one stipulation within this policy that's different from the other whole life policies or term policies is that there's a graded benefit period. All right, so that means the first 2 years, if you get this policy and you pass away as a result of an accidental death, a car crash, slip and fall, choke and die, we're gonna pay that whole 15 grand out to your loved one. But in the first 2 years, if you die because of a health-related issue or what we call natural causes, then what State Farm does in that case is we'll pay your loved one everything that you've paid into that policy up until that point, plus 5% interest on top of whatever you paid into it within the first 2 years. After the 2 years are up, that also includes suicide, that issue that I'm telling you about where you get your money back. But after the 2 years are up, it's business as usual, just like any other whole life policy. But yeah, there is cash that grows in it.
I think he nailed that. So, yeah, what he said.
Okay, yeah. Hey, so I am graduating and I'm on my university's insurance. So what do I do from transitioning from my school's insurance to finding out how to insure myself? What would be my first steps?
Yeah, meet with one of us. Well, and with all seriousness, right? A lot of times people don't meet with us because they think a cost is associated with it. We have a fiduciary duty to make sure that whatever your financial question is, we answer it honestly within the resources and regulations that we have. You look at one, you want to know what you have, right? University insurance is, believe it or not, similar to an employer's insurance. And oftentimes they'll give it to you and you don't even know what's inside of this, right? So you don't know under what stipulations are you covered. So identify that. And then a goal. I would put your goal up there up top because you need to imagine yourself in a perfect world scenario, walk yourself back to where you are in the present day, and then assess the steps that you need to take that bring you closer to that goal.
Okay, you guys are in sync, aren't you? That's what being an expert. Okay, the next question.
Good morning. We'll try to do this quickly. Situation, I have a question. Two sisters, my mom and Catherine Hawkins' sisters. I don't know the name of the policy. They bought policies when they were young to cover maybe long-term care. My mom, diagnosed with cancer. We thought the care would provide in the home. The condition was that she'd have to stay in a facility for 90 days before this policy would kick in. So we couldn't use that with a terminal cancer diagnosis. She would not have lived 90 days. Her sister, Catherine Hawkins, lived to be 100 years old and took advantage of the policy. So all the money that was put in by my mom for that policy was never, she not the benefits of it. Catherine Hawkins lived out the terms of the policy. Two educators, maybe they didn't read the fine line, the fine print. How do you help someone that you're insuring read the fine print and know what they are buying? You call them qualifiers. Some, when they invest, will never get the return. So, question. There we go.
As quickly as we can.
Yeah. Because it worked for one, it didn't work for the other.
Great question. And, you know, we gain a lot of clients because of that. People don't follow up, right? So my background is helping 94-year-olds, right? From toileting, showering, whatever the thing is. It is opening the door to make sure that what you feel is the most important thing and the most important question answered. We get that out of the way, and then I'm going to pad in a few more details so that you understand. Because you may not do business with me. So that's why I can't lead with products. I have to lead with education to make sure you understand where we're going. And there are prohibitors that if under my observation, I see that maybe there's a capacity issue where there needs to be a point of contact who's helping to make these decisions. My duty is to make sure we're getting clear understanding of what needs to happen to be the best option or solution for whomever that person is.
Yeah, and I'll just add to that, a lot of the ways that we help people are going to pretty much give instances of black and white. It's either, like I was saying earlier, you either qualify for this particular option or you don't. With life insurance, this is a situation where if you pass away within that 10-year, 20-year, 30-year period, then the company that I represent is promising that they'll pay that out to your family. Now, if you live out that 10-year, 20-year term, then there's nothing that's going to be paid out in that particular instance. So usually when I'm speaking with people and our team is speaking with people, we usually will kind of start from the back and then come to the front with regard to like worst case scenarios. This is how this policy could be denied. This is how this coverage could be denied if this or that were to happen. And then this is the best case scenario with regard to how this policy would work for you if you live out the next 100 some odd years, right? So in most cases with permanent life insurance, there's an illustration. And going back to the fiduciary responsibilities that we have, the companies that we represent have to stay in line with these rules. So that's how we're able to pinpoint to people, okay, this is where we can see how much money you'll have in this policy at this point. At the year 20, you'll have this amount of money in that at this time. So those are the ways that we point that out to people to make sure that if nothing just pops out on them at the last minute where they're taken by surprise by something like that.
Okay. We actually have three more. We actually have three more questions, and we're going to try to get these in, but we're going to have to be as brief as we can. Think about your question. Make sure it's something that they can answer in a minute or so. Okay? Okay.
Excuse me. What about cremation? The company that I retired from, they give us a flat. Okay, is that better? Okay. Yeah, the company I retired from, they gave us a flat $15,000. And I'm wondering if I should be looking for additional, insurance, because it's just a flat rate that they gave all retirement.
We can't.
Management retirees.
Yeah, and it's my understanding that cremation is certainly the lesser of all the costs when it comes to final expenses. And the way life insurance works, your family is going to get a check for that $15,000. So if the cremation is only $5,000, you're good.
Yeah, same. It's your money. It's tax advantaged at least, or tax free, depending on what we do. And you use it however you would like to use it.
So we also know the business types that you offer are deeply relational. So once you're already in with a financial advisor or your insurance person, what other opportunities to engage you all with business? For example, I need special events insurance for a day or something. Or any investment opportunities that might be a little more concentrated that won't throw me off my track, but also could allow us to engage, just community.
Yeah, so I did a session on Sunday, talking about nonprofit organization insurance, right? So that's something that our office can help people with specifically for event insurance. That's not something that we offer through the company I represent, but I can get you connected with somebody for something like that. But yeah, we offer business insurance. I mean, I have to have business insurance myself. We do workers' comp for people, but certainly for organizations, whether nonprofit or for-profit, that's something that we certainly help people with regard to protecting that business to make sure if something goes left, you don't have to worry about a big lawsuit wiping out your business and taking you out of the community.
Okay. Would you like to add?
Mic check. Okay. Yeah. That's a really good question. And we focus on the business owner. We put you in the position of where you're paying out less taxable income. So we focus on your asset diversification as well as your tax diversification. So our business owners are pulling $1 to $25 million a year in revenue. So when you're doing that, your biggest burden is tax. So with We have referrals, we have partners that do specialize in that kind of space, but we focus primarily on the person who is driving the business.
Okay, our last question is Robert.
About two-part question. Let's see if I can get them out quickly so you can answer them quickly. Most people, younger people, look to get insurance, life insurance, through the company that they work for, because it's usually less expensive. Are you suggesting that they shouldn't and they should get a whole or a term policy? And then secondly, is there a way that if a person has a term policy, that policy can be converted into a whole policy as the time goes past?
Yes, and hold on. Young people strategy, yes, right? So ask that first part again. I'm going
Well, I'll give you a specific example. I worked for Enterprise for 17 years. I had an opportunity to have life insurance through Enterprise. I paid it. If I would have died during the time, it would have been 5 times my income. Much better than me going to somebody else to get insurance. But when I left Enterprise, that goes away. Like you said, you got a shelter, but now the shelter's gone because I left the job. Mm-hmm. Are you saying that a person like that's coming to the work world, that's getting those opportunities, should not take that from the company and get a term or a whole policy at that time? Or do you think it's better for them to take that opportunity with the job where they're getting a lot more for less?
I think it depends. It depends on what that business is offering. So our initial notion is to put you in control of your money, right? So you're not in control of that money if you leave that job. And whatever you paid in, you may get some. Chances are you're probably not going to get any of that money back. So what our goal is, we're thinking 20, 30, 50 years down the road. So you're probably at the best health that you'll ever be, right? Today, your health is as best as it's going to get, right? So to get them in there from a standpoint, again, of asset, we want to start to develop an asset that they can then, if you would have done it at 18, let's say it's $100, just hypothetically speaking, but you've done that to your day age today. You would have the benefit of the compounding interest, right? And so this game is a game of interest. And we're shifting compounding interest from being against us, like credit cards, mortgages, and those kind of things, to being in our favor. That's why establishing that asset your whole life for yourself, doesn't matter what your job is, right? At some point, it'll build up to pay for its own self. It's called paid up additions. So the insurance actually pays for itself. That's how much dividends is accumulated on there. And so your time horizon, money is a factor of time. Right? So the more time horizon you have, the more opportunity you have it to grow. And then options, you have options.
And then what about terms being able to be moved over to whole?
You wanna answer that?
Yes. We definitely have that mechanism with our term policies where as long as you convert it before the term is up, so before year 20 or year 10, one of the specialties that comes with our terms is that you automatically qualify for a permanent policy without having to go through underwriting. So that is a perk of converting your term policy to a whole life policy with the company I represent.
Okay, let's give these gentlemen a big I couldn't be more proud of both of you. I really couldn't. You all are awesome. You're just awesome. If you need an insurance agent, look no further. They're right here. I know. Laura, Maurice, y'all done a wonderful job. Laura knows what I always say, so I won't say it, okay? And your parents, you said you're from Mississippi?
Yes, ma'am.
I tell you what, they did a great job. You should tell your parents.
I will.
Okay. I just can't help myself. I'm gonna have to say this, and Laura's gonna kill me. But Laura McClettie could write a book on how to raise a son.
Come on now, son.
She can't.
Hurry up and get it.
I saw her raise Daks. And she did a wonderful job. Just both of you parents have got, let me be quiet. Announcements. Oh, yeah, that's right. You say I'm all involved. I'm all involved. But anyway, I have two announcements, and then we are going to have announcements, but I just have two. Miss Avery sent this. Miss Avery's husband's birthday is today, so she spent the day, she's spending the day with her husband. But she wanted you all to know about the Partner Impact Awards on May 21st at Central Piedmont, and you're invited to come. And I have these flyers. Somebody's gonna give them out. And then there's another one. There's a spring tea given by True Solace, and it's at the Mosaic Village on May 3rd. It's honoring Mayor Biles and D. Dixon. Okay. Okay. Any other? Do you have one? You're looking at me.
Now that I'm old, I have to look. Now that I'm old, I have to look over my glasses.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead, Keith.
And we also happen to have Mr. Robert with us today. Mr. Robert Dawkins, thank you so much for being here. You're a long-time member.
I always come listen to Daks.
Yeah, right.
I might buy that pop.
You learn something. You always learn something. We're never too old to learn. Okay, let's see. Ken has an announcement.
My announcement is that, after the meeting, then talk to these guys, be sure that we get our permission.
Yeah, I want to say one other thing real quick too. I do want to shout out Mr. Ken Coates, himself, a man of many hats. All of my promotional stuff, anything that you ever see online with any photos of me, Mr. Coates helped me put that all together back in 2021 when I was getting with the business startup. He took me around, we took some photos, he connected me with some other photographers, including some pictures he took himself. But I definitely want to say that out loud in front of everybody. Thank you so much, Mr. Coates, for helping me get my face out here, man. Thank you, sir.
Anybody else who need his services, he's free.
Well, you're in charge. I just had to buy him a hot dog.
Laura, I called her, man, we know her, that's her son. But he's nice, he's good, he has a very wonderful payroll. She's working with out, man.
Okay, we got some other people with us, and Jackie, and I got two back there, three back there.
Keisha, good morning. I'm pretty sure you all are aware. I just wanted to, and if y'all haven't done it already, just wanted to pay homage and respects to Ruth Sloan, who passed away earlier this weekend. When I think about the history of Charlotte, when I think about art, when I think about theater, I think of her, and I wanted to make sure that she was uplifted in this space today.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Leonard Broderick. I represent the JCSU 100 Club, and we are here today to let you know that we are celebrating Coach Maurice Flowers. He, of course, is head football coach at Johnson C. Smith University, and this year they won the CIAA championship. He is a two-time CIAA Coach of the Year and a graduate of East Met and of Johnson C. Smith University. So we are honoring him with the McKee Award. This is our third year, and James Robert Jimmy McKee Award is a special award given to person for leadership, and it'll be held June 6th at Johnson C. Smith University. We are very proud to lift up the legacy of Mr. McKee. We remember him, and I'll close with this, we remember him, of course, with most identified with the Excelsior Club. However, Mr. McKee is the founder of the 100 Club. In fact, in 1966, while they were working on an effort to get the centennial. Okay. But I just want to say to Mr. McKee, I'll take this liberty. Mr. McKee was very important and central to our effort. When he funded the Rotary Club, $50,000 was their goal, $12,500 was their goal, and at that time they raised $50,000. So we want to honor Mr. McKee.
And his wife is my sixth grade teacher.
All right.
And Maurice.
Karen, before you go quickly, let me say this while we're talking about Johnson C. Smith football. It pains me, but also if you have Amazon Prime, Brick by Brick is a series live shot about JCSU's historic football season. So Amazon Prime, Brick by Brick, you can watch that.
Good job.
One more time about JCSU.
Okay,
We have
we're running
the
out of time. We're running out of time. Yes, go ahead, Peter.
So, this Friday is May 1st, May Day, traditionally Day of the Worker. And you may be aware that there is a general strike being called for just showing impact of voting with your dollars, right? So there are many in-person protests, but you don't have to be in person anywhere. There are many ways, and you can find online at mobilize.us. Also, there is a group, an organization called the Singing CLT Resistance. You don't have to be a professional singer, musician, whatever, but this organization, I have information on them, is showing up at places that are of big concern, like where they're proposing to build the big, for AI, thank you.
Okay, we got it.
So, I have these, if you are interested.
Okay.
I just wanted to say, for the JCSU people here, Johnson C. Smith unveiled and opened their new entrance yesterday. Go see the Golden Bulls standing proud out on Batersford Road. It is absolutely beautiful, so make sure you, and I speak on behalf of my parents, aunt, grandmama, great-grandfather who were JCSU alumni.
It's a grand
Okay, everybody, give me just a second. We have two more.
Okay.
In the 15 seconds, I wanted to announce the arrangements for Joan Kennedy will be on this coming Saturday, May 1st, 1:00 p.m. at the St. Luke No. 2 Missionary Baptist Church, 1835 Highway 97 in Sharon, South Carolina. The arrangements are being handled by Faith Funeral Home.
Okay, we have one right here.
Final announcement, the Black Votes for Roy call is on Monday at 6:30. If you have not signed up yet, I do have a clipboard, so you can scan the QR code or I can text you the link.
And finally, we have a donation can for coffee. If you drink coffee, if you eat cookies, if you want coffee, please donate $1, $5, $20, $50, $100. Donate something. We take change too, because it all adds up. Thank you very much.
Okay, and we want to thank Miss Tina. Miss Tina she's doing a great job. Okay. Can you say it in a minute? 30 seconds. 15 seconds, thank you. Who?
Did y'all answer?
Did somebody say it?
Oh, they were standing, that's why I just said.
Oh.
That's all right, I just making sure you saw it. That's all.
Okay. Again, let's thank these gentlemen. They'll be here for a few minutes to talk to you and give you their cards or whatever, okay? You're doing a great job.